Alrighty. So I imagine most of you have gone through a standard education going from like elementary up until now. That is, when I say standard, I mean like 10 months of school and 2 months of summer break, right? The traditional, like, you know, you love your summer breaks. Now, why do we have this? Formerly, America was largely an agricultural society, so we had a school schedule that mirrored it. And it's an example for the rest of the nation when the government sought to standardize education. So what if I told you that year-round schooling actually serves as a more advantageous schedule to the academic world? So basically, what is year-round school? Instead of 10 dense months of school and 2 months of summer break, the year is separated into smaller blocks of classes with more frequent breaks. The most popular form of the year-round education is the 45-15 plan. That is 45 days of school and then 15 days of break. That's 3 weeks. So now it may be hard to let go of your nice long summer breaks, but I'm going to show you how year-round schooling is better by showing you how year-round classes combat the summer slide. They benefit teachers with year-round jobs, and there are shorter, more frequent breaks, which are more beneficial to everybody else. Alright, so year-round classes combat the summer slide. What is the summer slide? So that's also known as the brain drain. It's a condition referring to the loss of knowledge or academic setback caused by 2 months without school, especially affecting disadvantaged students. Alright, in a study done by Harris Cooper of the University of Missouri-Columbia, he found that using comprehensive exams, both at the beginning and end of summer break, they found that all kids lose some math skills, and the disadvantaged students or underprivileged students tend to lose reading skills as well. These losses are difficult to recover from during the school year. They also found that summer schooling greatly prevents this. In another study done by Ohio State, they found that the overall student shows no significant difference in standardized testing. That's between year-round students and traditional schedule, with a slight advantage to year-round students. However, disadvantaged students lose 27% more over the summer break. Alright, and not only do students benefit, but also teachers. The Associated Press reports that in 1981, 11% of teachers took second jobs in order to subsidize their incomes. Today, that number is 1 in 5. Now, this is largely due to the incredibly low wages afforded to teachers. However, increasing the time spent in the classroom would help to subsidize or to support our educators. And this also helps to beat the stereotype that primary school teachers are simply glorified babysitters, and that they have nice long summer breaks off work. And it reinforces the fact that all teachers can be year-round professionals at all levels. This also helps teachers to beat the time constraints, which many curriculums have forced on students and teachers. This would allow them to slow down and cover more difficult material without fear of falling behind schedule. So not only do they benefit teachers and students, but families as well. And this is because of the breaks. So no matter what form of year-round schooling, all schedules provide more frequent breaks of at least a week. Now, I'm sure you can all relate to the fact that you look forward to that one day of extra break, whether it's Memorial Day or Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Just that one day of extra break helps kind of give you a little prevent you from burning out on school. Now, having more breaks of at least a week, it helps teachers and students prevent from burning out and keeps the classroom morale up. And summer is also well known for having busy travel sites and hiked up prices. And this is because everybody has their summer break off. Having more breaks long enough for family travel throughout the week, of at least a week, helps to avoid these travel bubbles and helps families to avoid these bubbles for traveling expenses. So I've showed you how teachers can benefit from a year-round schedule. Year-round classes combat the summer slide, and shorter, more frequent breaks for everybody could all help to show that year-round schooling schedule serves to be the most advantageous schedule to the academic world. All right.
right, Christian, the proposition, I figured it out at the end. I mean, you come back to it, so that's clear there. At the beginning, it's not very clearly signposted and highlighted, and you want a much more explicit statement of the proposition. I could tell generally where you were headed, and I understood the argument that you're making, but I think you want to have it stand out a little bit more obviously for your audience. There's a reasonable preview, but you kind of, like I said, before you get to the preview, you've got this definition of what you mean by the year-round school system. I think that if we're going to do comparative data, which you've got on a couple of studies that you're going to be citing, you need to give us information about where they are using year-round schools, and let's see if there is in fact a substantial difference. The only place that it seems like you really have a substantial difference is with disadvantaged students, so that sounds like maybe it would be a justification for a limited group, not necessarily the whole group. Your preview is fine. And I thought that you had good internal transitions in the body of the speech. So I could tell where you were at any given point. That helped. You don't usually use the numerical signpost, but like I said, there's usually an internal summary and then a label of what the issue is that you're going to. Although the issues aren't always phrased as declarative sentences, I think that that would help you a little bit. The data on the first point, you have a couple of studies that you're citing. They're a little generic in nature. The OSU study is probably the one that gives you the greatest degree of impact, talking about the impact on disadvantaged students. After that, everything seems to be a little thin. There's a lot of assertions. I heard information being treated as if it's factual data without any source being provided for it. All the stuff on family benefits is all completely asserted. There, I mean, at best you've got some hypothetical examples. There was one statistic on the second point about the teachers that said that they'd gone from basically 11% of them having a second job to 20% of them having a second job. The reason that they have the second job, though, is all assumed on your part. Either they don't have enough income, or they, that there's some other issue that's driving them. They can't live on the low wages that are being presented to them, and there's a consequence of that. Like I said, I think there's a big presupposition there that needs a lot more development. Obviously, 80% are getting by somehow. So, why is that 11% difference, or the increase that you're talking about, so significant? Maybe it just means teachers want more money for wherever they can get it. They're a bunch of moonlighters. Present case accepted, of course. Let's see. Like I said, there's a lack of citation of the information after that, and everything is mostly asserted at that particular point. I thought you had a really effective summary at the end of the speech, reminding us of what your points were. Even though it wasn't really in the order in which you presented the arguments, I knew what your argument was. All right, thank you.